Well, how y'all doing tonight? You doing good? Good? Oh, well, thanks. Thanks, appreciate it. Now, real quick, I want to introduce someone that you may or may not know who's going to be joining us here on Wednesday night. Would like to get to know y'all more. So if you say hi to Shay back there she is. She's going to wave at y'all. There she is. All right. And if you're watching the video, you don't know. But yeah, talk to her afterwards. Ask her favorite cookie. I don't know. Just get to know her. Okay. And so that is that's exciting. We're glad that another adult wants to be in here and get to know you teenagers and wants to invest. So with that, we are in the last week of our Big Questions series, and we've answered some tough questions. And here's the thing why we're doing this. If you even don't know this yet, what I believe is that the really big questions deserve better answers than sometimes we get, right? Sometimes we may ask a question, or we may be nervous to ask a question in church or wherever because we don't know what the answer will be, or we don't think the answer will be very good, or maybe we don't want to hear the answer, right? But in this series, we believe that big questions deserve better answers. So tonight, I want to tell you very quickly, I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, I talked about the dream I had when I was a child to be a professional football player. Clearly, that did not work out. That's okay. I survived. I made it through. Okay, so I talked about that a little bit. And that dream kind of faded away when I got into high school and that kind of thing. I realized, I wasn't going to be a professional football player. And maybe some of you are realizing similar dreams that you had as a child, maybe just like aren't really going to pan out, right? As you get into high school, maybe you get a little older. And then what happens is you start to go, okay, well, what do I want to do? Or maybe you go, no, I've always wanted to be an electrical engineer, since I was 4, even before I knew what that meant, right? I don't know but maybe you have things you want to do with your life. I can tell you that when I was in high school, I was like, I'm not good enough to play professional football, but it would be really great to talk about professional football for a living. That would be exciting. So for a while, I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. I thought that would be a lot of fun. And then, I kind of thought about what that would look like. I looked into the different schools that had degrees in that. And then right about that time that I was looking at what school to go to, I felt the Lord calling me into ministry. And so that's what I'm doing now, right? Answering the call. And sometimes and here's the thing, not everybody is going to have a moment where they go, I feel like the Lord is calling me to do this, right? That just doesn't always happen. And I wouldn't even say to you that it was like there wasn't like one moment where it was like, bam, and then I knew what I was going to do the rest of my life. It was a lot of praying and not wanting to do it, and then eventually saying, yeah, I'll do it, and then going, okay, what does that look like? I don't know. And then a lot of trusting God in that, but also a lot of the Lord going, you don't have to know everything, right? But what do we want? We want to know what our plan, we want to have a plan, don't we? We want to know what we're going to do a year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, right? And to know what you're going to do even a year from now it's hard to know, right? You just don't always know what you're going to do. Some people like to do a 5-year plan, and they go, here's what my next 5 years look like. If you're in high school and you have a 5-year plan, you're way better than I was as a high school student. I'm just going to let you know right now. I didn't have a 5-year plan. Okay, yeah, we got, no, I didn't got a 5-year. Yeah, still don't have a 5. Yeah, because things can change, right? So here's the thing. We have some high schoolers in here. We have some middle schoolers in here. This is more for the high schoolers. You probably are in that phase of your life where everybody starts to ask you, what are you going to do with your life, right? Or they start to ask you, well, what are you going to do after high school? And maybe there's a presumption there that you're going to go to college, and you're like, I don't even know if I want to go to college, right? And it's like, well, what college are you going to go to? And I'm like, it's like, what's college, or maybe you're like Harvard, and then my backup school is Yale. Maybe that's who you are. That was not me. Okay, Stingham Jackets, Howard Payne. Let's go. All right. So this is what if you're in high school, you're probably feeling that pressure, right? You're feeling that. What am I going to do with your life? And when you think about that when you're a little kid, right? It doesn't have as much weight as when you think about it and you're in high school, right? When you're a little kid, you're like, it's like if you're a boy, you're like, I'm gonna be a fireman, You know? And then, or like a girl, you're like, like I'm gonna be a nurse, or maybe you want to be a fireman as a girl. I don't know what you want to do. I was never a girl, okay? So I'm pretty sure, okay? But so this is like the thing is like when you're a kid, it's like fun. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be an astronaut, right? Who wanted to be an astronaut when they were a kid? Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, maybe times have changed. NASA, not so hot anymore, I guess. But it was a little hotter when I was a kid, I guess. So anyway, you're like, I don't know what, and so, but here, fast forward, 2021, and people ask you, what do you want to do with your life? Right, yeah. You're like, some of you've got it. Some of you don't have it. And here's the thing. It can be a hard question to answer. And some of you are saying, no, it's not, Marshall. I know the answer, right? Things will probably change for you. Okay, that's how life works. But here's the deal. It's a hard answer. It's a hard question to answer. And here's some reasons why. Here's just some quick things up on the screen. I'm going to show you quick things of why it's hard to answer. What do you want to do with the rest of your life? The first one is this. There's so many things that we're interested in, right? Like as a high schooler, as a junior higher, you probably have a lot of things that you're interested in. There's more things to be interested in now than there was when I was your age, right? And there's more things to be interested in when I was in school than my parents. Like the internet changed everything, right? Like you can literally have a career as someone who just takes really good Instagram photos, right? Like that's a thing. Like 10 years ago, that's not a thing, right? Like you're like, oh, you're homeless. Okay, and what's Instagram? No, so this is it, right? So there's so many different things that you can be interested in now, right? Whether it's like you could be, hey, I want to be able to be into photography. I'm really interested in science. I want to be a teacher, or like, hey, I want to be like, I don't really care. I don't really care about what my career is. I care more about my hobbies or there's just so many things, and the question is hard to answer because there's so many things that interest us. So here's another reason why it's hard to answer, what do you want to do with your life? Is that nothing seems to really interest you enough to make that your whole life, right? And I'll tell you this. I remember my first date with Amy. And we were talking about, it's gonna connect, I promise. We were talking about if either of us had tattoos. And I made a joke. I was like, yeah, I've got some, but you can't see them right now. Like it's stupid. It's just a dumb joke. We were having fun, okay? But anyway, like the thing is, I don't have any tattoos, and it's not because I have a moral objection to tattoos or anything like that. There's really nothing that I'd want to tattoo on my body that like in 5 years, I'm probably going to be like, man, I don't like that anymore, right? Like, for me, it's like, it's just, what? What? Oh, about the piercings? No. Oh, what? Oh, no, I don't have any piercings. No. So Amy then accused me of having commitment issues. But here's the thing, is that, like, this is, yeah, no, no, I also made a joke. Anyway, no, we're not going to get there. But so the thing is like with tattoos for me, it's like no, I don't want to commit to a tattoo. I don't want to that's permanent. That doesn't go. I don't want to commit to that. A lot of times we feel that way about maybe a career or something that we want to do. Like it's like I don't know if I want to do this career for the rest of my life. Right, or until I retire or whatever. Like, and you might not even be thinking about that right now, but you're like the idea of doing something for 40, 50 years probably doesn't sound great to any of you, right? Like, unless that's like, I'm going to eat cotton candy for 50 years. I mean, anyone want to do that? Right, okay? I don't really like cotton candy, but Aiden does. So, so here's the next thing. Here's the next reason why we have trouble answering this question is we're not thinking about the future, right? We're like, listen, you say next year, and like, that's forever away, right? I don't want to think about what I have to do after high school because that's forever away, right? That's one reason. Here's the next one, is this. is maybe, and it's going to be on the next slide here, is that you feel pressure from other people to figure out, right? Like the other people have figured it all out, or at least that's what it seems like. Everyone else has figured out their life plans, and you are going like, I don't know. I feel like I need to because all these other people have their whole lives figured out. So I feel like I have to make a decision, but I don't know what I want to do, and that's hard to do sometimes. And here's the last one. Last one is this, is like you are just trying to get by, right? You don't have enough energy because of all the things that are going on in your life right now that you're like, I can't even think. It's not that I don't want to think about the future. It's that I can't think about the future, right? You're trying to tell me I need to think about what I want to do after college. I don't even know if I can afford to go to college. I don't even know if I have to get a job because that, like, otherwise my family can't make it, right? Not everyone is in that situation, but there's people who live in that. And they go, what do I want to do with my life? I don't know. Have the electricity on, right? Like that's, that's what I want to do is I want to go to the fridge and have food. You know what I mean? And so these are all reasons why sometimes it's hard to think about the future and what we're going to do. And really, one of the things that we're asking ourselves when we ask this question, what do I want to do, is really, can I make a difference? Right? This is the question, right? This is the big question for tonight, is what difference can I make? Right? Your generation, those who are middle school, high school, college right now, Gen Z, you guys, right? Y'all are sitting there and you're not just asking, hey, what kind of job can I do? What kind of career can I do for 20, 30 years where I make a lot of money or I'm very successful? Like, I would say that's what some older generations really thought about. But you guys and girls of this generation, you really are asking that question. How can I make a difference? What difference can I make with my life? Because I don't want my life just to be wasted. And sometimes you may feel like your life is being wasted in all of the mundaneness, right? Just asking, because if you just think about what do I want to do with my life, and none of the answers are any good, right? And you're like, am I even going to make a difference when I'm an adult? Am I going to change my community? Am I going to change my world? Am I going to have an impact for the kingdom? Am I going to have an impact for God? And so we're going to look at a passage tonight in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It'll be up on the screen, but you also have Bibles you can flip to. You can grab those at your seat, or you can look up on the screen. We're in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, and this is the letter. 1 Corinthians is a letter that Paul wrote to the church of Corinth. We talk about Paul a lot. That's because he wrote half of the New Testament. A lot of those, pretty much all of those were letters that he wrote to churches in the ancient world, right, about what it means to follow Christ better. And here's what he says. Here's what he says to the church in chapter 3, verse 5 through 9. He says, after all, who is Apollos? Who is Paul? Right? Who's Apollos? Who is Paul? Real quick about Apollos. He's an early church leader. If you don't know that, he's a pretty popular guy. People talked about him. He was influential, kind of like Paul. Obviously, not as influential. But here's the thing. He's a church leader. And so Paul is asking, who is Apollos? Who is Paul? Right? To say, why do we matter? Right? Here's what he says. That's an interesting question to ask about yourself. Right? And another person. So after all, who is Apollos? Who is Paul? We are only God's servants through whom you believed in the good news. So he's saying, we're only the people that brought the gospel to you. We are not God. We are not Jesus. We're just servants. So he continues in verse 6, says this, I planted the seed in your hearts, and Apollos watered it, but it was God who made it grow. It's not important who does the planting or who does the watering. What's important is that God makes the seed grow. The one who plants and the one who waters work together for the same purpose, and both will be rewarded for their own hard work. For we are both God's workers, and you are God's field. You are God's building. So Paul, sitting here, he goes, listen, I know that all of you talk a lot about Apollos, you talk a lot about me, and you go, we're with Apollos or we're with Paul. They would almost say, hey, that's our guy. Apollos is the real deal or Paul's the real deal. And almost like you had to choose sides of sorts of this is he's our leader or he's our leader. But Paul's coming in and he's saying, listen, that's not what it's about. Paul and Apollos were not seeking glory of other people. They were merely doing what God called them to do. They were servants. Now, what that looked like, that changed because Paul went all over the world at the time, Asia, Europe, Middle East, and spreading the gospel. And Paul was always ready to go where the Lord was leading, and so was Apollos. And they're saying, it's not about us, it's about the Lord. It's about our service towards him. All right? And so Paul's answering this question. He says, it's not about what you do, right? It's not about your role. It's about who you're serving. So one of the things I want you to see here is which role is more important, right? You may be thinking, what am I going to do with my life? What am I going to do? What am I going to do 5 years from now? What's my job? Is it going to be important? Am I going to make a difference? Is it going to matter? But which role which role is more important is not a good question to ask. It's the wrong question, right? Because some of you may be going, hey, what am I supposed to do? What am I going to do with my life? And you're going, hey, I have this option. I want to pick the best option, right? I want to pick the option that means the most, that maybe I get the most money, maybe I have the influence, maybe I'm the most successful, whatever that looks like. You're saying, I want to pick the most important one. Almost like, I want to maximize my life. You only get one, right? So you want to get the most out. And Paul here is saying, no. The question about which role is more important is the wrong question. Paul is pointing out here that the better question is, did each role accomplish what only it could accomplish? Did each role do what it needed to do for the advancement of the kingdom? Does that make sense? So you see, Paul planted the seed, Apollos watered it. They had different roles. Neither of them were more important. Both were necessary. You have to do the role that you're in to your best ability. Right? Did you do what only you could do? See, because here's the deal. We all will have different roles in life. Some people will be teachers. Some people will work for the highway department, right? Some people work for CPS. Some people are youth ministers. I just named every occupation in the room. So here's the thing. It doesn't matter what your role is or which one's most important. It matters, are you accomplishing the only thing that your role can accomplish? Right? So if you are a teacher, are you being the best teacher you can be for Christ? If you work at a cheese factory, are you being the best cheesemaker you can be? Storm used to work at a cheese factory, right? So, right, if you work as an administrative assistant at CPS, are you doing that the best you can? That's your role. Right? But also, your role in the kingdom of God is not limited to your occupation. Right? So here's what we're talking about. The question you need to ask yourself is this: am I doing what only I can do? Because God created you to do a specific thing. God created Apollos to do what Apollos did. God created Paul to do what Paul did. God created Caleb to do what Caleb does. Are you doing what only you can do? And here's the thing. This is important to remember. Each person is uniquely gifted to do something. You are uniquely gifted to do something. Some of you need to write that down because you don't think you're gifted to do anything. But God gifted you uniquely to do something that only you can do. And then we think about what our role is, so let me slow down for a second here. Okay, let me address this. Some people get caught in a situation where they don't do anything. Right? Follow me here. So people who go, hey, I'm going to wait till I hear loud and clear what the Lord wants to do. He's going to tell me, and sometimes it's clear. Rarely is the Lord's voice audible, but sometimes it's very clear. This is what I want you to do, right? But here's the thing. Sometimes we get caught and we wait. We're going, hey, Lord, what do I need to do with the rest of my life? What do I go to college? What does college look like? What degree do I need to get? All these things. Like maybe those of you in junior high, you're thinking, what do I need to do in high school to get ready for the rest of my life? And that was not a thing that happened when I was in junior high, okay? Right? But you may be thinking that. Here's the thing. Don't get caught in, I'm just going to wait and do nothing until I know the rest of my life, until I know the plans for the rest of my life. Because here's the thing. God created you to do something right now. Here's this thing I want you to see this, right? Your part is to be who God created you to be right here, right now. So don't think, hey, 5 years from now, I can start living the life God wants me to live. God is calling you to live your life for Him right here in Stephenville, Texas, right now in 2021. You don't have to be an adult to start saying, hey, I'm living my life in a way that matters for the kingdom. You don't have to wait till you have a full-time job. You don't have to wait till you have 2 or 3 degrees. You don't even need any degrees to live for God right here, right now. You can make a difference right now. You matter right now. What you do matters. There are people in this room who are here because other people in this room brought them here. Because other people said, what I do right now matters. What I do right now impacts the world. So I want you to see what you do. How can you matter? You can matter by following God right here, right now. So check this out. This is not going to be on the screen, but we don't have a purpose to find. We don't have one purpose to find. We have a bigger purpose to join. Somebody needs to write that down. You don't have one purpose to find. You have a bigger purpose to join, and that purpose is the kingdom of God. That purpose is advancing. That purpose is telling other people about Christ. That purpose is living out your faith. And here, this is going to be on the screen. Our responsibility is to bring what we have and join it with what is already happening. Our responsibility is to say, hey, what do I have? What is God already doing? And I'm ready to join in right now. I'm not waiting 5 years. I'm not waiting 10 years. I'm not waiting till I have a full-time job. I'm not waiting till all my dreams come true, right? I'm joining God right now with what's already happening, with what I already can do. So here's the thing. This is everybody's choice, right? This is the choice. Everybody has the choice. This is your everyday choice to make to do the next right thing. Your everyday choice is to do the next right thing. So it's not about long-term, hey, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? Sure, you can think about that. But also, like, if you want to matter, if you want to make a difference in this world, if you want to impact the kingdom, start thinking, what's the next right choice I can make? Because while you're waiting for your whole life to start, quote unquote, you can make a lot of really bad decisions. You can make a lot of choices that take you away from making a difference. Or you could start making a difference in a bad way, right? Okay? So here's what I'm saying. Your life is happening right now. I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes in junior high and high school, but your life has already started. You're not you're not in a holding pattern until I'm a real person, right? This is kind of the mentality that leads to adulting, right? It's like, well, before I'm an adult, I don't have to really do anything of significance, right? And then you become an adult and you're like, oh, being an adult is a lot like being a kid, like, except you just have more responsibilities, you know? And now maybe you don't have someone to hold your hand all the way through it, right? So here's the thing. It's decisions to participate in what God is doing, right? It's a decision, right? To do what God is wanting to do right now. So you have to make that decision every day, and are you going to make that decision to take the next right step with God every day? So, this is back to purpose and meaning and things like that. Here's the thing. God's purpose isn't tied to the labels you wear, right? We all kind of put labels on ourselves, and other people put labels on us, and maybe like when we think about what do I want to do when I grow up? Am I going to make a difference? Am I going to matter? You probably put your own label on your safe. You're like, hey, I'm going to put this label on me because I want to do this. Bam, smack. For me, it was, hey, you know what I want to do? I want to be a professional football player. Bam, label on. Well, that didn't really work out. Tear the label off. You know what? I want to be a sports broadcaster. Put that label on. Well, nope, that didn't really happen. So I'm going to be youth minister. Put that label on. And even that took a few years to really get into that. But we can throw these labels on. But here's the deal. God's purpose for you isn't tied to the labels that we wear. God looks at our labels, looks at our plans, and goes, that's nice. That's great. But what are you doing for the kingdom? Here's his purpose. Your purpose, his purpose for you, your purpose is to love. If you're wondering, hey, what do I do? How do I make a difference? How do I matter? Your purpose is to love. Love God. Love your neighbor. Love life. Love yourself. And listen, you do those things. You love God. You love other people. We're talking about that right now on Sunday nights. That's a plug, shameless plug. But if you want to know your purpose, if you want to know how you can make a difference, love people. Love God. Love people enough to say, hey, I know the God of the universe, and his son died to save my life. And I want you to know that. I want you to know my Savior. I want you to know Jesus. Because I love you, I want to tell you about that. Your purpose is to love. Your purpose is to love all people. All people. The ones that are hard to love, the ones that are easy to love. Your purpose is to love all people because God loved us first. Did he not? He loved you enough to die for you. So here's the thing. Here's where we're coming. This is our bottom line. We're going to wrap up real quick. Is this. You ask the question. You say, hey, what am I going to do when I grow up? Am I really going to make a difference? How do I make a difference? And we talked about that, and you wonder like, hey, can I really make a difference? Like, I know I have these dreams, I have these visions, but here it is. You matter more than you think. Sometimes we have big dreams and we want to think about the future because we want to make a difference. We want to matter. We want to impact the world. But you do not have to wait to make a difference. You matter more than you think right now. You can make a difference in somebody's life, in your community, right now. You matter more than you think. When you ask the question, how can I make a difference? You can do that today by making the next right choice, by the next thing in your life, saying, I'm going to follow Christ, I'm going to love people better. Imagine if everybody in this room, seriously think about this. Don't miss this. Look up here real quick. Imagine if everybody in this room went to school tomorrow and said, hey, today I can make a difference. You know how? By loving people like Christ loved people. And instead of talking to someone this way or ignoring someone or living or like saying this, you say, hey, what would Christ do in this situation? And if you choose to make a difference by loving people tomorrow and today, if you choose to do that, imagine the change that could happen. It might not be big at first. but you could impact someone's lives. And our whole community, our whole world could start to look different because you said, hey, I'm not waiting till next year. I'm not waiting till 5 years. I'm starting today. I'm going to make a difference today because you matter more than you think. Let's pray.